My dear child, come close and let these words wrap around your heart like a warm embrace. This is not just another message. It's a love letter from heaven written just for you. Whether you're standing strong or barely holding on, whether your faith is soaring or your doubts feel heavy, these words are your anchor. God sees you. He knows your name. And today, He's speaking directly to your soul. Lean in, beloved. This is your moment of divine encounter. My dear child, let these words sink into your heart like warm sunlight after a long storm. You are loved more deeply, more completely than you could ever imagine. I see the weight you carry, the doubts that whisper in the quiet moments, the longing for something greater. But my child, hear this truth. You are not alone. My love for you is unchanging, unshakable, and without conditions. My dear child, I have watched over you even when you didn't know it. I've shielded you from dangers unseen, guided you through crossroads you barely recognized, and held you close when you felt abandoned. You are precious to me, not because of what you've done or haven't done, but simply because you are mine, my child. So many search for love in fleeting things, approval, achievements, the arms of people who cannot fill the emptiness inside. But no human love, no success, no possession can compare to what I offer you. My love is a foundation that will never crumble, a light that will never fade. My dear child, let go of the lie that you must earn this love. You don't need to prove yourself, bargain for blessings, or hide your flaws. I know every part of you, the wounds, the fears, the secret hopes, and I love you still. Come to me just as you are. Let my love wash over you, not as a distant promise, but as a living reality. My child, today, I ask you to do one thing. Believe that you are cherished. Believe that my love is enough. When the world makes you feel small, remember, you are held by the one who shaped the stars. When regrets try to drown you, remember, my grace is deeper still. My dear child, this is where your journey begins. Not with striving, but with surrender. Not with fear, but with faith. You are loved. Let that truth anchor you. Today and always, your struggles have purpose. My dear child, I know the weight you carry feels unbearable at times. Those nights when the silence echoes with unanswered questions. Those days when exhaustion clings to your bones like a second skin. You've asked why. More times than you can count. My child, today, I want you to understand something sacred. Your pain is not meaningless. Every tear, every stumble, every battle you fought, I have gathered them all in my hands, and I am weaving them into a story far greater than you can imagine. My dear child, I don't cause your suffering, but I use it to shape you, to strengthen you, to prepare you for the destiny I've placed within you. A diamond is not formed in comfort, my child. It is forged under pressure. A sword is not sharpened by gentle strokes, but by friction and fire. And you are being refined for a purpose so magnificent, it will leave you breathless when you finally see it unfold. My child, I know the enemy whispers lies in your weakest moments. You're forgotten. You're failing. This pain will never end. But my dear child, those are shadows, not truth. The darkest nights precede the brightest dawns. The fiercest battles birth the greatest victories. Even now, in what feels like chaos, I'm orchestrating miracles for you, ones that will leave no doubt in your heart that I was with you all along. My dear child, think of Joseph, betrayed, enslaved, imprisoned, yet every wound led him to a throne. Think of David, hunted, despised, broken, yet every trial prepared him to lead a nation. My child, your story is no different. What looks like a setback is divine setup. What feels like abandonment is my way of drawing you deeper into my arms. I am not wasting a single moment of your struggle. So today, my dear child, I ask you to shift your perspective. Instead of asking, why me? Whisper, use this. Instead of resisting the refining fire, surrender to it. Let go of the need to understand everything right now, and simply trust that I am working all things, yes, even this, for your good. My child, one day, you will stand on the mountaintop and look back at the valleys you crossed. You'll see how every detour led you here, how every scar carries a testimony. And you'll realize the very things you thought would break you became the foundation of your strength. Hold on, my dear child. Your pain has an expiration date. Your purpose does not. You are never alone in the valley. My dear child, I see you there, standing in the valley with the shadows stretched long and the path ahead seems swallowed by mist. You feel the ache of solitude pressing in, that quiet fear that no one truly understands the weight you carry. My child, let me speak this truth over you until it sinks deep into your spirit. You have never been and will never be alone. Not for a single breath, not for one fleeting moment. Even when your senses fail to perceive me, I am here, closer than your next heartbeat, nearer than the air filling your lungs. My dear child, I know the enemy tries to isolate you, to convince you that your struggles are invisible to the world and forgotten by heaven. He whispers that no one sees your silent tears, that no one notices your weary perseverance. But my child, those are lies crafted to drain your hope. The truth, I have counted every tear that has slipped down your cheeks. I have collected them like sacred offerings, each one a prayer I hold tenderly. Your pain is not ignored. It is honored. Your weariness is not dismissed. It is met with my endless strength. My dear child, do you remember Elijah in the wilderness? He sat beneath that broom tree, convinced he was the last faithful soul on earth, begging for his life to end. But what he couldn't see in that moment was the army of thousands I had reserved, the countless others who still stood firm, and the angels I was preparing to send to his side. My child, you are no different. When isolation screams loudest, that is when I am moving mightily behind the scenes. The people who will uplift you, the divine appointments I prepared, they are already on their way. My dear child, I want you to pause and feel this truth. You are surrounded by a cloud of witnesses, both in heaven and on earth, cheering you onward, the loved ones you've lost, the ancestors who walked this path of faith before you, the angels assigned to your journey. They are all woven into this sacred story with you. And most of all, I am here, not watching from a distance, but walking with you step by step. When the road is steep, I am your strength. When the night is dark, I am your light. When the burden grows heavy, I am the one who lifts it from your shoulders. My child, I know there are days when silence feels unbearable, when prayers seem to bounce back unheard. But my dear child, silence is not absence. Some of my most profound work happens in the quiet. The germination of seeds beneath the soil, the formation of stars in the unseen cosmos, the healing of wounds deep beneath the surface. Trust that even now, I am working in ways your eyes cannot yet see. So today, my dear child, when loneliness threatens to overwhelm you, do this. Speak my name aloud. Whisper it into the emptiness, and know that I fill every space your voice touches. Open your hands and surrender, and feel me holding them. You are not clinging to hope alone. Hope is clinging to you with a grip that will never loosen. My dear child, the valley you're walking through is not your destination. It is a passage, a sacred space where I am teaching you to rely on me in ways the mountaintop never could. And when you emerge, you will carry a strength, a wisdom, a resilience that could have been forged no other way. Take heart, my child. The same God who parts seas and raises the dead is walking this path with you. And that means no valley, no matter how deep, can defeat you. Your breakthrough is closer than you think. My dear child, I see how hard you've been holding on, how you clench your fists around hope even as the storms rage, how you whisper prayers through nights that seemed endless. Today, I come to you with a promise that will make your spirit quicken. Your breakthrough is not some distant dream floating on the horizon. It is near, my child. So near that if you quiet the noise of fear and lean into my presence, you'll feel it approach like the first warm breeze after a bitter winter. My dear child, I know the waiting has worn you thin. You've watched others celebrate their miracles while your own promises seem delayed. You've wondered if I've forgotten the desires I place in your heart or if you missed some sign along the way. But my child, let me settle this truth deep within you. Not one word I've spoken over your life will return empty. What I have promised, I will fulfill, not on the world's hurried timetable, but in the perfect rhythm of divine purpose. The seeds I planted in you years ago did not die during the drought you endured. They were gathering strength underground, preparing to break forth in a harvest that will leave you astonished. My dear child, I need you to understand this. Your current circumstances are not the final verdict on your story. That diagnosis, that financial strain, that broken relationship, that dream deferred, none of these get the last word. I am the God who breathes life into dry bones, who turns mourning into dancing, who transforms the darkest midnight into a canvas for dawn. What looks like an ending to you is merely the stage I've set for my glory to shine through you. My child, do you feel it? The shifting in the spiritual realm? The enemy senses it too. That's why he's redoubled his efforts to make you doubt, to exhaust you into surrender. But my dear child, his frantic resistance only proves what I've been whispering to you all along. Your victory is inevitable. When Pharaoh's army chased Israel to the Red Sea, it wasn't a trap. It was an opportunity for me to display my power in ways they'd recount for generations. Your Red Sea moment is no different. The obstacles looming before you exist so that when I move, no one, not even you, will credit luck or coincidence. All will know it was my hand. My dear child, prepare yourself. Start praising me not when you see the answer, but because you trust the one who holds it. Begin speaking as if the promise is already yours. Not from empty presumption, but from the unshakable confidence that what I've declared must come to pass. Your words have creative power, my child. When you align them with my truth, you partner with heaven to pull the invisible into the visible. My dear child, I see the weariness in your faith, how you've hoped so long it sometimes feels easier to numb expectation than risk another disappointment. But today, I'm reigniting that sacred flame within you. The breakthrough you've longed for isn't just coming. In many ways, it's already here, unfolding in the quiet places where your character is deepened, your compassion is expanded, your trust has been refined. The external manifestation is simply the next step in a journey I've been orchestrating since before you took your first breath. So stand up straight, my child. Dust off the disillusionment of past delays. The season of almost is ending. What I'm about to do will require your active participation. Not striving, but surrendered obedience. When I nudge you to take that unexpected opportunity, say yes. When I prompt you to forgive that old wound, release it. When I lead you to prepare space for abundance, do it diligently, even if your current reality seems barren. This is how faith cooperates with fulfillment. My dear child, remember this above all. The same power that rolled away the stone from Christ's tomb is at work in your life right now. No grave of lost hopes, no tomb of dead dreams is sealed tight enough to keep out my resurrection power. Your Lazarus moment is coming. The day when what looked finished suddenly breathes again, when what was mourned as lost stands restored before your weeping eyes. Hold on, my precious one. The dawn is breaking. Your suddenly is closer than you think. My dear child, I know the places where you feel most fragile, those tender spots where disappointment has left its mark, those moments when your own limitations rise up like walls you cannot climb. You've whispered to yourself in quiet shame, if only I were stronger, or if only I had more to give. But my child, today I want to show you the sacred truth I've woven into the very fabric of your being. Your greatest strength is not found in the absence of weakness, but in the surrender of it. My dear child, the world will tell you that vulnerability is a flaw to hide, that your cracks are something to plaster over before anyone sees. But I tell you this, it is through those very cracks that my light shines most brilliantly. Think of the Apostle Paul, who pleaded with me 3 times to remove his thorn, only to hear me say, "My grace is sufficient for you, for my power is made perfect in weakness." My child, those words were not a dismissal as pain, but an invitation into profound mystery of divine strength, the kind that turns inadequacy into a conduit for miracles. My dear child, I see how you mistaken your human limitations for failure. When your energy runs dry before the work is done, when your patience wears thinner than you'd ever admit, when your faith flickers like a candle in the wind, you judge yourself harshly, as if I expected you to be more than human. But my child, I shaped you from dust on purpose. I filled your lungs with breath, knowing full well you would need me to keep filling them. Your weariness is not a sign that you're falling behind. It's an altar where I can meet you in ways self-sufficiency never allows. My dear child, consider the humble olive, To extract its precious oil, it must be crushed. The grapes must be pressed to yield new wine. The caterpillar must dissolve into seeming chaos before emerging winged. So, too, my child, the moments when you feel most pressed on every side are not evidence of my absence, but the very process through which I prepare you to carry glory. Those tears you cry in secret, they are softening hardened ground. Those prayers gasped between sobs, they are moving mountains you cannot yet see shifting. My dear child, I need you to hear this. What you call weakness, I call sacred space. When you come to the end of yourself, when your clever solutions fail, when your best efforts fall short, when your resources run dry, that is precisely where my power finds its greatest canvas. The Red Sea didn't part until Israel stood trapped with no way out. The widow's oil didn't multiply until every last jar was gathered in desperate faith. The stone wasn't rolled away until Lazarus was 4 days dead. My child, your too late is my just in time. Your not enough is my more than abundant. My dear child, today I invite you to a holy reframing. Instead of hiding your weaknesses, bring them boldly to me. That anxiety you fight each morning, offer to me as raw material for peace. Those financial worries that knot your stomach, present them as empty jars waiting for my provision. That relationship that seems beyond repair, lay at my feet as a seed for restoration. This is a divine exchange. Your fragility for my strength, your uncertainty for my wisdom, your exhaustion for my endless vitality. My dear child, remember how I chose a stuttering Moses to confront Pharaoh, a fearful Gideon to lead armies, impulsive Peter to build my church? I wasn't settling for second best. I was demonstrating a kingdom principle the world still struggles to grasp. My glory shines brightest through ordinary vessels. Your perceived flaws are not obstacles to my plans. They're the very cracks through which my light will spill into this parched world. So the next time shame whispers that you should have it all together, my dear child, answer with this truth. My God specializes in not enough. My limitations are simply the frame for his masterpiece. Stand unashamed in your neediness, for it is the very posture that attracts my power. The world's heroes may boast of their strength, but my champions are those who know the secret. That true power flows when we stop pretending and start depending. My dear child, take heart. The areas where you feel most inadequate are being transformed into your greatest testimonies. What looks like breaking is actually remaking. What feels like coming undone is the prelude to being rebuilt stronger. You are not falling apart. You are being reconstructed by hands that shape the universe, with a blueprint more magnificent than you've dared to imagine. Rest now, my precious one. Your weakness does not disqualify you. It qualifies you for grace. And grace, my dear child, is the unstoppable force that will carry you further than strength ever could. My dear child, I see the scars you try to hide, the ones etched by betrayal, the ones shaped by loss, the tender places that still ache when memories brush against them. You've asked me countless times why I allowed such wounds, why a loving God wouldn't shield his children from such piercing pain. My child, today I want to take you by the hand and lead you into the sacred mystery of redemptive suffering, where I transform what was meant to destroy you into the very thing that will heal multitudes. My dear child, your pain is not random. Your tears are not wasted. Every heartbreak, every disappointment, every night spent wrestling with anguish has been gathered in my everlasting arms and infused with holy purpose. The enemy intended to use these sorrows to break you, but I am using them to remake you. Like a master alchemist turning base metals into gold, I am transmuting your suffering into spiritual authority, your grief into compassion, your wounds into wells of living water for parched souls. My dear child, consider my son in Gethsemane. The anguish that poured from him like blood wasn't a sign of weakness. It was the birthplace of humanity's redemption. The nails in his hands didn't signify defeat, but became the conduits of eternal victory. My child, your personal Gethsemane, those nights when the weight crushed you to your knees, has been just as purposeful. The things that made you question if I'd abandoned you are becoming the very experiences that will allow you to lead others home. My dear child, I know how you've looked at certain scars with shame, believing they make you less than whole. But my precious one, in my kingdom, scars aren't signs of damage. They're proof of resurrection. They tell the story of what tried to destroy you, but couldn't, of wounds that didn't have the final say. The risen Christ kept his scars for a reason, my child. They weren't blemishes to hide, but trophies to display. Irrefutable evidence that death had been conquered. Your emotional and spiritual scars carry that same divine purpose. My dear child, the pain you've endured has given you something no seminary degree or theological training ever could, a doctorate in mercy. Because you've known loneliness, you can spot the isolated soul in a crowded room. Because you've wrestled with despair, you recognize its shadow in another's eyes before they speak a word. Because you walk through fire, you know exactly how to sit with others in their burning places without rushing them toward cheap solutions. This, my child, is the sacred privilege bought by your suffering. My dear child, I see how you sometimes envy those whose paths appear smoother, whose lives seem unscarred by the depths you've known. But my precious one, they will never be able to comfort as you can comfort, to heal as you can heal, to reach into darkness as you can reach. Your valley experiences weren't detours. They were divine appointments to equip you for a work no untested soul could perform. The parents who've lost children find their greatest ministry to other grieving parents. The addicts who've known redemption become the most compelling voices of deliverance. The betrayed become the wisest reconcilers. My dear child, this is why I've allowed certain thorns to remain even after your pleading prayers. Not because I enjoy your discomfort, but because I know the eternal weight of glory they're producing. Your present sufferings are crafting your capacity for future joy that shallow, pain-free lives can never contain. The deeper the plow cuts into the soil, the greater the harvest it can yield. My child, your tears have watered ground that will feed generations. My dear child, I need you to begin seeing your past through this redemptive lens. That abusive relationship, it's becoming your platform to advocate for broken. That financial ruin, it's shaping you into a Joseph who can steward future abundance wisely. That season of depression, it's carving out reservoirs of empathy that will refresh weary souls. What the enemy meant for evil, I am weaving into a tapestry of healing so intricate, so breathtaking, that one day you'll stand back in awe of what I created from fragments. My dear child, the world teaches you to hide your wounds, but I call you to display them, not with shame, but with holy pride as a battle-scarred warrior. Your testimony isn't, I was hurt, but now I'm fine. It's a far more powerful, I was shattered, but look what the master potter has made from the pieces. Every time you courageously share how I met you in your pain, you stretch a lifeline to someone drowning in theirs. My dear child, the day is coming when you'll stand before people still trapped in the prisons you've escaped, and as you speak, chains will shatter. You'll recognize it then, why I permitted the struggle, why I didn't remove every thorn, why I allowed certain Gethsemanes. It was never about you alone, my precious one. It was always about the multitudes I saw waiting in the future, who would need exactly what your pain has prepared you to offer. So lift your head, my scarred but glorious child. Your suffering has never been meaningless. It's been the sacred furnace where I'm shaping you into a vessel of unimaginable purpose. The world will soon see what I've been crafting in hidden places. A wounded healer, a scarred redeemer, a living testament to my power to restore. My dear child, your greatest ministry is being birthed from your deepest pain. The story isn't over. It's just entering its most powerful chapters. Walk forward in that truth today. My dear child, I see how hard you've worked to prove your worth, how you've chased validation in accomplishments, in relationships, in the ever-changing opinions of people who don't truly see you. You've measured yourself against impossible standards, believing that if you could just be a little smarter, a little more put together, a little less flawed, then you would finally be enough. My child, today I come to break every chain of performance and remind you of the unshakable truth. Your identity is not something you earn. It is something you inherit. My dear child, long before you took your first breath, I knew you, not as a project to fix, not as a soul to tolerate, but as my beloved, fearfully and wonderfully made, crafted with intention, infused with purpose. While you were still being woven together in secret, I was singing over you with delight. My child, that song has never stopped. It plays beneath the noise of the world's judgments, beneath the echoes of your own self-doubt, a constant melody of belonging that no failure can silence and no achievement could make louder. My dear child, you must understand this. Your worth was set at the cross, where my son stretched out his arms and declared with finality, "This is how valuable you are." No amount of success can increase that value. No amount of stumbling can diminish it. When I look at you, I don't see a resume of good deeds or a catalog of mistakes. I see the righteousness of Christ wrapping around you like royal robes, making you flawless in my sight. My dear child, the world will try to name you failure, outsider, disappointment, too much, not enough. But those labels hold no power unless you receive them. The only name that matters is the one I've given you, chosen, redeemed, mine, my child. When insecurity whispers that you don't belong, answer with this truth. You are a citizen of heaven before you are a resident of earth. Your passport was stamped with holy blood before you ever face your first earthly rejection. My dear child, I know how exhausting it is to keep rebuilding your sense of self on the shifting sand of human approval. One day you're praised, the next you're overlooked. One season you're included, the next you're on the outskirts. But my precious one, I offer you an identity anchored in bedrock, unchanged by promotions or layoffs, unfazed by social media likes or silence, undisturbed by the fickle affections of people who don't hold your soul in their hands. My dear child, consider the lilies of the field, how they neither toil nor spin, yet my adorning makes them more glorious than Solomon in all his splendor. They don't strive to become flowers. They simply grow into what they already are. My child, this is your invitation, to stop laboring to become worthy and instead rest in the worthiness I've already bestowed. Your value isn't determined by what you do, but by whose you are. My dear child, I see how you've hidden parts of yourself, the quirks, the passions, the unconventional gifts, because they didn't fit the mold others expected. But my creative one, those very traits are clues to your divine design. The way your mind works, the things that make your heart quicken, the dreams that won't leave you alone. These aren't accidents, correct, but fingerprints of my purpose. The world needs the authentic you far more than it needs another carbon copy of temporary trends. My dear child, today I'm dismantling every false identity you've carried. The mask of perfection, let it crumble. The armor of achievement, let it fall. The costume of who you think you should be, let it burn away in the fire of my love. What remains will be the real you, the one I formed with infinite care, the one my son died to redeem, the one my spirit is transforming day by day into a reflection of heaven's beauty. My dear child, when you wake each morning, I want you to hear my voice whispering over you before the world's voices begin their barrage. You are my beloved. You are enough. You are home. Let this truth sink deeper than any insult, any setback, any season of invisibility. No opinion, no rejection, no season of obscurity can alter your eternal standing as my treasured child. My dear child, the path to peace begins here, not in becoming someone new, but in embracing who you've always been in my eyes. The more rooted you become in this truth, the less you'll crave human applause, the less you'll fear human rejection. You'll walk with the quiet confidence of royalty, not because of anything you've done, but because of who you belong to. So stand tall, my cherished one, shoulders back, head high, not with the arrogance of the self-made, but with the quiet assurance of the blood-bought. You are mine. That is enough. That is everything. Let this truth sink into your bones until it reshapes how you walk, how you love, how you rise after every fall. My dear child, your true identity isn't out there waiting to be earned. It's already within you, waiting to be believed. Today, take the first step into that freedom. The world is desperate to see someone fully alive in their God-given identity. Let that someone be you. My dear child, as you step away from these words, carry this truth with you. You are never alone. Heaven is fighting for you. Grace is covering you, and love is leading you forward. No matter what comes, remember, your story is still being written, and the best is yet to come. Now go, walk in confidence, for the God who holds the universe also holds your tomorrow. You are seen, you are loved, you are His, and that changes everything.